Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 13 Beta 1 has been on my iPhone XS Max and my iPad Pro for, well, about 5 to 6 days by the time you're watching this, and it is definitely very buggy. There's a reason Apple makes it difficult to install, and I think they're waiting for the public beta in July, because this is a very early beta, and I have mixed experiences even between this device and the iPad Pro. So between the iPhone and the iPad Pro, there's definitely different experiences. Now, let me show you my experience and then tell you why you probably shouldn't install it. So the first thing is settings. While I'm using, you'll see dark mode here, and we'll talk more about battery in a moment. Dark mode seems to help battery a bit. I'm not sure I like dark mode that much. It seems a little depressing, but you can change that up if you haven't seen this to be automatic. Light during the day, dark at night, and it definitely helps battery and helps when it's low light around you. But settings has been freezing on me, and I haven't had that prior to this with iOS 12.4 betas or even 12.3.1. So I still have settings freezes now with this beta. Also, I have apps crash all over the place. In fact, MoneyWiz is something I like to use a lot. If I open it, you'll see it crashes every time. I can uninstall it, reinstall it. It doesn't matter. It just does not work. So there's definitely some compatibilities that you may have to try with your different apps. So I wouldn't recommend installing this on your main device by any means. Now, when it comes to Wi-Fi and LTE, it's actually been pretty good. I haven't had any issues with connectivity really. Seems to be as good as 12.4 beta 3, or I really have no issues with it whatsoever. Also, when it comes to battery though, it's a different experience between my iPhone and my iPad for some reason. So if we go to battery here, this one has 100% battery health. Let's go back here. And over the last, you'll see here's the days that I've had the beta. It seems to be going down, but 4 hours and 24 minutes of screen on time, 4 hours and 13 minutes of screen off time. Now, of course, I could turn off some of this background activity, and it will probably help a lot, and I probably will do that in the future. But you can see these three apps here, YouTube Studio, Spark, and Twitter, are using up a lot of power. But it's not too bad, because I had about 50% battery life left with this screen on time, so not really that bad. I've heard of others with terrible battery life though, so I'll be turning off some of the background notifications. But on my iPad Pro, it's a different story. It's not great battery life at all. Now, there's no way to see battery health on the iPad Pro, but you'll see right here 50% battery life and only about 3 hours of screen on time and 41 minutes of screen off time, mostly watching YouTube. That is terrible battery life for an iPad Pro. Normally you'll get about 9 or 10 hours when watching video. So there's definitely something going on. It has been a pretty good experience, a little buggy with this widgets bar here, but overall it's been pretty good. There are definitely issues with sharing. Certain things don't work properly. Apps crash. In fact, I've had to reboot my iPhone 3 or 4 times, and also my iPad multiple times as well, at least 2 times since it came out on Monday. So there's definitely some issues with that. Also, voice to text seems to be greatly improved, but it seems to crash apps a lot. Messages, it's crashed. Twitter, it's crashed. And almost every time if I reply to a comment using the YouTube Studio, it will crash. So let me see if I can show you that. So most of the time, if I use voice to respond to this, it works really well, but it crashes the app every time. I'll show you. So they want to know if you can use iOS 13 on the iPad 10.5, and I'll just let them know. Yes, it will be available when it comes out. I'll hit send, and it crashes the app every time, but the reply is there. So that's one of the bugs I keep having, and there's other bugs all throughout. One other little thing a lot of people have asked me is about 3D Touch, and is it no more? And it definitely seems like it's going away. So this issue I had during the iOS 13 Beta 1 video, trying to show the different Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connections, what you do is you hold in the middle here, and it's not a 3D touch anymore. It's a touch and hold. It feels very much like haptic feedback as opposed to pressure-based feedback. Then you just touch and hold your Wi-Fi network, and if you have multiple networks, they show up. So you can do that now like this, but again, it's not pressure sensitive because I tap and hold. You can't push a little bit like you can on iOS 12 and older. So unfortunately, it seems like it's no more. There are weird bugs all throughout, and I really don't like where they put the updates under the App Store. So if you go into the App Store, if you haven't seen this, tap on your name or your little icon in the upper right. And then if you scroll down, you'll see these are all your updates if you have them. So It's just kind of a weird spot to put them. Maybe it'll just be automatic in the future, but right now that's kind of an odd place. But otherwise, I have a friend that actually installed this beta, said it was super buggy. They wanted to go back to iOS 12.3.1, and they were unable to do so very easily. In fact, they ended up having to wipe the phone, and I keep having a weird issue with my watch saying it can't set up cellular, but the person was unable to uninstall the beta, restore, or anything. They actually ended up factory resetting their phone and restoring it using iTunes, and it just wouldn't even work on macOS Catalina or anything. They couldn't restore it, so it really messed everything up. So again, I would just wait until the public beta in July, and that's usually when it's stable enough to use on your main phone or at least a test device regularly. It may not be as buggy for you. In fact, it's not as buggy on the iPad for me, but as far as battery life, it's terrible. So it just varies from device to device. But let me know your experience in the comments below. And I didn't do a YouTube community poll since it's not available to as many of you as before, and I'll be sure to do those in the future. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Oh, and of course, I'll link the wallpaper in the description as I always do. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.